vertical at Mobikwik. Over to you, ma'am.
Uh, Thank you, Anisha. Thanks for that great introduction. I think firstly, I would like to start off with please don't call me ma'am. I'm not as old as you guys think I am. So yeah, I think it's a pleasure here talking to you guys. I think it's a great platform for you guys to learn what's in the market, what's happening, what has changed over the years. Because you will be entering this market soon, and probably would want to do what other people are doing. So yeah, I think in terms of like my journey, I've been in the financial services industry for now 4.5 years. Worked for a bank, worked for a lending startup, and now obviously I'm working in Mobikwik, which all of you might know as like is a wallet, where we're doing very interesting stuff. I think we'll talk about that in specific. So I think all of you want to essentially know that what does it take to be here in simple words, right? So how do we figure out what is product management or what is product fit, product market, all of that. So before I start, does anyone have any like questions related to like my experience till now? Anything specific you guys want to know? Okay, cool. I'm assuming there are no questions. I didn't get any questions in the chat box. So I think we'll start off with some interesting things. I think what I have planned for today's session is a very small presentation where I'll make you go through like a couple of new interesting concepts. And the way it will be structured is that after every slide, probably I have some interesting questions for you. So I want everyone to like say participate and think because it has to be a very stimulative activity. Because I think product is something what I have learned doesn't come by doing some course or just over time. It just doesn't. You have to constantly keep on thinking and learning and keep on evolving as a process. So that's what we're going to follow here as well. That we'll learn, we'll practice, and that's how we'll like evolve slowly. So I'll just share my screen. Just give me a minute. I hope everyone can see my screen. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Cool. Great. Uh, so I think the first thing I would want to essentially start off with is to know what are we talking about. So essentially how we start off is that every product that you see in the market, you don't realize that actually there is some brains or research going out there for the same. From the smallest thing like for you ordering like a pizza on Zomato to like you probably just paying your bill on Paytm, anything from everything that you do, someone's designing it. So someone's seeing your activities, someone's making your life easier, but there's a brain behind it. Why do we have a button on the right or left? There is someone who's designing it because someone's figured out a behavior. So studying that behavior is a product manager's job essentially. Like, knowing my customers or who's going to click, what do they want is essentially a product manager's job. So one thing that you always should know is that nothing happens by chance. It always is by design. It has to be by design. Someone's controlling it. So, if we take a few steps back, so I think where does the journey start? That's like a bigger question. So product market fit is basically to figure out, which product fits the puzzle, right? There was a time when, for you to actually take a public transport, you had to go out, stop a rickshaw, take some 10,000 directions from an auto rickshaw guy, and then probably reach your destination. But there was someone in the market who identified this problem, right? And that's the bridge that Uber created. So I think if you put it in simpler terms, you just need to find out what people really want and then build it for them, right? And this concept seems like very obvious that hey, it's so easy, right? Like people can't order food, make Swiggy, people can't get a cab, make Uber. But it's important to make sure that this concept is not taken very lightly. You have to have enough people who want your business offers, right? For example, there are so many bakeries that we know today. All of them are saturating the market at one point of time, right? They are not building a new product, but um, product market fit is not only in terms of the type of product you're bringing, but the experience essentially, right? So the reason why there are so many players in the market and all of them are surviving is because somewhere they found that okay, hey, this is something that I can take up and solve the problem for, right? So that's the reason that you want it to be very concrete, because till the time you figure it out, you will not be able to decide the next steps, right? Cool. I think let's dive right into it. So, see, the first part of essentially, finding the product or solving a problem is to start asking yourself that, hey, who do I serve for, right? Or like, who is my audience? Who will benefit from my product? Now there comes the question that, okay, why is it important? Why is it even important to find out? I'll just make my product and figure it out. Whoever takes it, who doesn't take it, great. No, it doesn't work that way. You need to have in mind who you are building for. I'll give you a very good example. Essentially, for the products that you use, maybe like a Spotify or like an Amazon, is not the same kind of products that your mom might be using, right? Because usually the older generation doesn't have that much trust in the online business. They don't want to be making payments through Paytm or UPI, but we are so heavily dependent on that, right? So a product manager sitting at Google or Grofers, Swiggy, Zomato knows this. They know the user persona, right? They know that for a young 21-year-old, it's great to show, hey, why can't you can get cheap junk food because we are limited in terms of money. But probably for an older person in the 30s or the 40s, it's important to show that, hey, we can offer you a great dining experience if you are ready to shell some money, right? Because the sell point is different. So you have to figure out who do you want to build for? Who are you targeting? Who do you want to, make sure that, okay, they fall in love with my product, right? So I've given a very good example of Uber here. Uber's audience was actually people in busy streets who are trouble finding convenient transport, right? So that's the reason they built an app to order a 24/7 car, right? So their audience actually started off with people who were using public transport and finding a problem, right? So that could be working class, obviously less of like say students because they can't afford it, but that's where it all started. So it's extremely, extremely important to figure out who should I build for. That is finding your target audience. The second thing that obviously you need to ask yourself is that what is the problem statement that I want to solve? What is it that no one else is solving, right? So, because it is very hard to sell a product for which solutions already exist. For example, tomorrow, if you want to launch a food delivery service, right? You can't ignore the fact that there's a Swiggy and Zomato in the market already, right? So you need to find out what are people unhappy with. What does your target customer want? How can you help it solve them? And there are many several problems to solve. But because you're getting started, you can't just solve for every problem in the world, right? You need to find a niche. Niche basically is a narrow segment that, hey, I'm gonna build for the 60-year-olds who probably, don't have any kids left with them, and they probably want some company. So why don't let's bring all of them together, right? But you need to make sure that you are solving for a problem and which targets people. You can't just solve a problem and like not know who you're solving for, and vice versa. Okay, so I think we can't just go on with me like talking. We have to obviously interact. My question to everyone is that think of yourself like as an entrepreneur. If you had all the resources at your disposal, technology, money, anything. So, I just, who would you ideally want to build for? Or like, what to chalo baad mein aayega, but who do you want to build for? or like, what is the problem that you would want to solve, if you have like, all the resources at your disposal. And it can be anything bizarre, like and random, doesn't have to be like extremely smart, but just just ideas that I wish someone could give me that. So I wish, and you have to complete the sentence. So what would be your sentence complete? I wish that I could build this. I have my wish list also, so probably I can share also as well after hearing some ideas. Time to think, guys. Anything, it can be something weird, anything just as a top of your head. Nothing, no one wishes anything. No one wants to build anything. How's that possible? Okay. A readers community. Nice. Something like a Quora maybe. Yeah. What else? What else? Okay, I'll tell you one of my wish lists. I wish that there was some mood sensing app, which could just figure out what I want and just connect with that person. For example, like it's early in the morning and I really want to have some coffee, right? And it's on my head, but I can't do it. So I just want there should be some mood sensing app that hey, I want this, or habit sensing that it can just automatically do it. I hate ordering from Zomato every day in the morning, or like making the coffee myself. I just want it to happen automatically. Skincare for old people. Okay, nice. I wish I could build a publishing forum where young writers could easily publish their work. Oh, nice. Very interesting. Online platform for selling old books. Hmm, interesting. I think that already I think exists, something like an OLX. Maybe you can try thinking of like say a platform where people can easily exchange books, right? The currency is books. You give a book, you take a book, and then you learn negotiation skills. Cool, cool. Is there anyone else who wants to give like a cool idea? Cool. I mean, you can always think about it while we are in the presentation also. There's no hard and fast rule. Cool. I think we should think about the next step. For example, you want to define a product's unique value prop, right? In the sense that you have to be unique. You have to highlight what you want to build, or it should be unique. Because if you're building something which already exists in the market, most probably, no one's gonna take it, or it's gonna die down very soon. Example of that is Uber Eats. Does everyone know Uber Eats, what that is, right? So essentially, when Uber started saying that, hey, you are anyway going with us, why don't we also deliver food? I mean, that's a great value proposition, right? The only default was that it couldn't capture that market, which was already diluted by a Swiggy and a Zomato because they were specializing in that. So here they did offer a great value prop, but it wasn't unique. So that's why I think it just fell off. We could probably make an automatic coffee machine where we can set a timer on the coffee which has to be ready every day for you. Yeah, great idea. But that machine would be very expensive. I wish I could find healthy versions of junk food and should be accessible and not so costly. I agree with you. I agree with you. Yeah, that's a constant problem all the girls have, I think. Okay, so basically, the point here is to you have to make something which is short, sweet, and understanding, right? Like, I mean, look at your ideas. All of them are like unique, and it doesn't have to be rocket science all the time. You don't have to develop like a Google or a Facebook to become big. No, ideally not, right? For example, if you like, you can like no one's thought of like say hey I want to go hiking with my pet, so what about like a waterproof hiking gear for dogs? Like no one's thought about that, right? Or like there is so much with especially in terms of like COVID, uh, people are getting more and more anxious. There are so many health issues that are coming up, so why not develop some like some kind of soothing product that helps anxious people, or helps different kinds of problems, anything, right? So, that's the thing. You need to find something unique. It doesn't have to be something very complicated. It just has to be like a different idea, right? For example, I'll give you, I came across this person on Instagram, essentially. So what she does is that she buys expensive makeup and she makes smaller samples of it and makes that accessible at a very cheaper price for people. So like a 4,000 rupee Dior makeup foundation, she actually divides it into like small samples of like 300-400 each, right? So essentially, people can get access to luxury goods, right, at a price that they can afford, right? So I think that's such a simple and a great idea, right? Like making it accessible. And mostly, her target audience is college students, right, who can't really invest that much money in like makeup, but really want to indulge in that, right? So great idea, right? That way, so but so unique that she's doing. Something interesting actually I found when I was reading about product market fit was, I think I've written it in my PPT as well, that, if you're actually stuck somewhere in like, in a mental block, I think you should take a tip from Steve Jobs, who says that, take a walk while you brainstorm, because, some of his most famous products were actually born during his leisurely strolls. So yeah, so I think your productivity increases by 60% if you take a walk. And especially all of us being locked up at home, it's anyway quite frustrating. So I think it's a good point to start. Okay, so I'm again back with some like boring stuff that where we need to think. So I want to know like a couple of examples like that I gave. What do you think like is something the like that has been like completely unique that you've come across, say, in the last like 6 months? Like you said, the wow, this is like so great. Like wow, this is so cool. So what are like one of the most cool and fascinating things you guys have come across in terms of products? And it can be anything, online, offline, experience, anything. So, like, which was like, you were like, wow, that's so great. The reason why I want you guys to think about this is because, we have seen a lot of evolution in terms of like, from an era where there was actually no Google or Facebook to actually seeing Google and Facebook, which was like a huge jump, right? Like in Uber and Ola. But now we can't make that huge leap. Everything has to be like very small steps, right? Because we've already advanced in terms of technology. So I want to know like what do you guys like find cool right now? So like for example, I gave 2-3 examples, right? Like of this girl who was selling like small makeup products and stuff. So what do you guys think are like the coolest things in the market? What have you guys tried? Why do you think it's cool or different or unique? I discover Storygraph. It's an app which tracks our reading at the end of the year, gives a book wrap just like Spotify. Oh wow, that's pretty cool. I didn't know about this app. That's pretty nice. Storygraph. Nice, nice. And what else? Come on, guys, think. You guys like we are sitting at home using apps all the time. That's all we do because we can't go out. All our activities are restricted. So what else? What else did you guys discover? It can be an existing feature in an existing app also, like something you discovered, you know. There's a company which Betas who is selling all the eco-friendly stuff. Okay, is it expensive? That's my question. Okay, that's nice. That's pretty cool. Eco-friendly stuff. Yeah, I think that's a trend that's catching up. Everyone wants to be cruelty-free and all of that stuff, which is good, which is a great thing. What else? Anything related to like music, payments? Oh, it's affordable. Okay. Payments, food. I don't know. Anything else? I discovered this digital detox app. Wow. Wherein it helps you limit screen time by blocking social media apps after you have used them for a certain amount of time. Nice, nice. Does it help actually? Or you ended up deleting it? No, it does. Okay, it does help. I should also try it. Marketing ideas knowledge, like I came across the account on Instagram where the person creates awareness about the various allergies she has and how the smallest stuff can be fatal to some people. Oh wow, that's pretty cool. There's a startup of cocktails, name in a can. An application which compares same product price from different websites and tell the best site to buy it and best time to buy it by analyzing history of the product. Oh wow, which is this app? Hey Nandini, can you tell me which is this app? I didn't know about it. I think the Dare 2X Compete app has been very innovative and helpful. Okay, what does it do? Sugan, what does it do? Dare 2X Compete app is there's an app, but I think someone can work on it. There is no app, but I think someone can work on it. Okay. Okay, so Naina has raised her hand. You wanna say something? There is no app, but I think someone can work on it. Okay. In a Can was in Shark Tank yesterday. Oh, okay. I don't follow Shark Tank. Uh, yes, Neha. Oh, you guys can just like speak also. That's pretty cool. Like, you guys don't have to type. It's pretty random. You guys can speak. You can talk. There's an app named Alter Ego. It's like a game, but it gives you time to think about yourself and to retrospect on yourself. Wow, that's pretty nice. Nice. I at least I have learned something new today. A lot of things new. Don't know about you guys. Okay. Uh, yeah, I think this is a very interesting thing that we can discuss. I think this is something very new. Okay, we have some input. I came to know about eco bricks, where school furnitures are made with plastic waste, and this brick is far more strong than the usual. Wow, this should be advertised more. Very nice, very nice. It's cool stuff, cool stuff. Cool. So see, abhi tak I have obviously spoken about the thoughts, the research that goes into thinking what to build. Now basically we will answer the question of what do you need to make it work, right? So, how every company starts off is not by building the perfect product, but actually the least perfect product. What does it mean, right? It means that if you want to wish to move the mountains tomorrow, you should start lifting stones today. You can't just get up one day and say, "Hey, now I am ready to move the mountain." No, that doesn't work, right? You have to build a minimum viable product. What does it mean is that it should just be functional. For example, um, if you're planning to build something like a Zomato, the idea is not that, oh, I'll make a fancy app, I'll give this feature, that feature. No. The idea is that I'll give an app which, essentially helps you to just press for an order. That's it, right? For two restaurants near you, I just see the menu, which can essentially be like a paper also. Input what I want, and just pay on cash. That's also fine, right? But the idea here is that it's a prototype of your idea. How will the customers and stakeholders understand your product, right? So what an MVP essentially helps you is go to market faster and test your ideas. See, because a Facebook or a Google were not built in one day, right? It was tested out multiple times, and the good part is that you're going to fail. For some things you're going to fail, for some things you're going to succeed. So the idea is to fail fast, right? That should be your motto. Like if you're building a product or building a business, is to fail fast, make mistakes faster, because you don't want that. Hey, I invested some 1 year into something that actually I could have realized like in 2 months, right? So it basically lets you test your idea before actually you spill a lot of money into building the real thing. Imagine if you actually raise a lot of money and build a very fancy product, but in the end it ends up failing because you figure out, hey, there is actually no need, right? So basically that's the idea of a minimum viable product. So if you see, I've given an example here also. I mean, it's so simple, right? That essentially how your like a bulb actually does the evolution is that your minimum is actually a candle, because the candle does the same job essentially as like a bulb, right? It gives you light, right? The essential function doesn't change, right? Even if it's a lantern, a candle, or a bulb, the essential function of that remains the same, to give you artificial light, right? Which does not come like from outside. Now, how does it do it? That's the difference between each one of them. What advantage, disadvantage is that candle burns out, a bulb probably doesn't burn out that well. That's the difference. But functionally, it's the same, right? So this is very, very important. That you build a product. Matlab, I need this much to just make it functional, right? Just make it work. That's it. So one thing that you should always keep in mind is when you're thinking of like a minimum viable product, and let me tell you, this concept is also only something that, oh, here it'll be useful to me if I tomorrow plan to start my own business. It will be applicable to you in all fields if you're planning to build something new, anything. So anyone like senior, junior to you, once you test an idea, they'll ask you that, hey, what is the MVP of this? That okay, how do I test this concept fast? What do I build minimum? So this is something like super, super important that will come handy to you in every phase of your professional life, right? Because everyone wants to fail fast, test their ideas, and evolve because no one waits, right? Opportunities just come and go. A word of caution though, that obviously, you need to resist like the temptation to make your MVP very bulky. So what essentially is a tricky part here is that we have so many ideas that we want to test each and everything and just make it like perfect and best. I think that's something that has a cost in terms of the effort, the time, and the money that is put in. So you need to realize that it's actually your MVP is your appetizer, not the main course. So if your appetizer is great, your guest will stay on and order the main course and probably the dessert too. But if your appetizer is shit, he's gonna switch to another restaurant for sure, right? They're not gonna order more stuff. So you have to include the minimum features of your product that will delight your customers. Simple as that, right? So that your functionality essentially comes across. Okay. We have all obviously spoken about the products that we have liked, right? This is something cool, this is something not cool. Now I want you to really think about the products that you used, but you didn't like. You're like, what is this? I don't like this. And stopped using, right? Because what we'll do is essentially we'll figure out why did you not like it, right? It's very easy to say as a cosmetic change that acha, this didn't look nice and stuff, but actually there's an underlying reason why people don't like the products that they don't like. So I really want you guys to like think. I'll also think about the products like I used and I didn't like and I ended up like not using it. So any product that comes to your mind that you use and you're like, nah, this is not cool. I don't like it. It's not great. It can be anything. It could be inconvenient. It could be bad experience. It could just be like it's just unnecessary. So what do you guys think? Which is like a bad product or like something you didn't like? So it's thinking in the opposite direction of what we were thinking just like 5 minutes back, which is like a very unnecessary product that you feel. Buy juice. Okay. Indistractable, an app for minimizing distraction. Okay. Clinic plus shampoo. Okay. Mama onion shampoo is not at all natural and causing hair fall. Yeah, I agree. There are many skincare products that claim to do many things but don't help at all. Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's that's true. But that's more of like advertising the wrong things. For example, incorrect thing saying fair and lovely. It's just fundamentally incorrect. Because you can't change that. Think of more on the lines of that it does whatever the product is, it does its job, but it's just not what you need. For example, someone said buy juice, right? Even I don't need it. Or for me, I think it's White Hat Junior. Like I don't get it. Like why do like 7-year-old need to know how to code? I don't get it. So that's something I feel that okay, they're doing their job well, but like what is the need? It's just weird. Like I feel it's weird. Like it doesn't sync with me that why would you make such a product? So that's something that okay, they're doing well, but I don't think it's that great a product. So something like that, something else. Let's think. What is there which I feel is unnecessary? Um, I think this is, I mean, think of it as I feel that sometimes all the credit products that we have, my captain, they provide courses on various topics. Okay, so they're like Byju's. Does it help? No? Okay. Yeah, I feel sometimes credit products, for example, if you do guys know about like Lazy Pay, Simple, whenever you check out on Zomato and Swiggy, you see those payment options. So I think with credit cards, they create an illusion that you have more money, which you actually don't, right? So it can encourage bad spending habits. So that's what I feel, that excessive excessive credit products can induce like this feeling that, hey, I have more money, I'll pay later. But essentially you can't pay more than what you have, right? And it gives an illusion of like, hey, I have more money. So I think that's something that is very tricky, I feel. It's good if you know how to manage your stuff well, but I don't think that's it's good in terms of if you're just starting off. Instagram Insights app tracking who unfollowed you and stuff. Yeah, good point. I think it's pretty useless to like people like us who don't really who use social media as a platform to just get entertainment or just like some social validation. But I think it might be important to people who are driving their livelihood from it. So all these influencers and bloggers, they get insane money for just like one post, one story. They get judged on the basis of number of followers, views they have. So I think that's something they have. I mean, that's a metric that they want to follow. Someone raised a hand. Do you want to say something, Nishu? You can please unmute yourself and like say. I feel table app are not useful as you don't continue it for more than 2 days. I don't know what is a table app. What does it do? White Hat Junior made bogus claims that you could develop an app and start minting money through it after wearing their courses. Hang out people saw it too. Yes, I agree. YouTube Shorts. Yeah, they can be pretty useless, I feel. Cool. Nice insight, guys. You guys are thinking in the right direction. Okay. So I think this is something interesting that we should all look at. See, once you've actually built an MVP, the essential reason of building an MVP is to test it out quickly, right? Because what's the point, right, of doing all the hard work if your users are not liking it? Because you're not building it for yourself, right? You're building it for a target market. So now that you have it, it's basically time to put it in the market through any means, right? It can be literally anything: survey, one-on-one interview, focus groups, your own circle of family and friends, anyone, to try and test that app, right? Because testing is the way you will get feedback that you need to shape your final product. That is it even working or not, right? What's the customer's perspective? So what happens usually is that we think that, hey, I know what I want to build and I know the product, but we are definitely limited by our perspective, because you might find out later that, hey, I missed this, like how could I miss this use case, right? And it's not basically happening for the user. So, yeah, so I think the point is that you have to test it and test it and test it till the time you actually make like a near perfect product. And this is a cycle that never ends, by the way. So if you feel that someone like a Facebook or a Google or a Zomato or a Swiggy who have like made like amazing products, they have just stopped thinking something new or testing out different hypotheses, that's wrong. There are a lot of testing that happens on a daily basis. We are all part of those test groups, unintentionally, obviously, where everyone's testing a lot of features. So this is still continued by big organizations as well. So that's something that you need to learn to do. That how do I make sure that I get feedback from my customers? A very interesting, I think I took this example from the US because I thought that's something we probably won't know. Have you heard about this brand called the Spanx? Like this is shapewear. We use actually shapewear is now called Spanx, just the way noodles are called Maggie. You know, Maggie is essentially the brand; it's not the product. So Spanx we call Spanx, but that's actually it's a company. It's not the product. The product is shapewear. Oh, great! I think we all watch Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Great, great. Um, yeah, so essentially, the photo that you see on your screen is Sarah Blakely, who's actually the founder of Spanx. So Spanx, essentially, for those who don't know, is shapewear in the US. Essentially, shapewear would helps you under the basically what you wear under your garments to get like a perfect shape. And if you you don't want any lines, or basically who are conscious of their figure, they can wear shapewear. It comes in all sizes and forms for like different body parts also, like in just your stomach, hips, everything, right? So essentially, that's a great product, right? I mean, it and see how Sarah actually did it, right? Her target was women, just like women of like every age, who are basically conscious about the way they look in a particular dress, right? That's very pointed. So how did she go about it? So a very interesting thing about Spanx is that they don't have any like brand ambassador or like great like crazy marketing that they do. Essentially, they do a lot of influencer marketing. So I think someone who was referring that why the Instagram insights, I think this is a business which is fueled by that. So they rely very, very heavily on influencer marketing. So just let's just see how she actually tested her product. She tested her product with real women, and even she asked her mom, her friends, even her grandmother to wear her designs and share their thoughts. Right. So her efforts clearly paid her off because Spanx they earned a profit of like $4 million in the first year. So like I said, there is actually no restriction in terms of who you can ask about the product, because it's exactly, it can be your friends, cousins, family, your colleagues, anyone. So till the time you've actually cracked what exactly is that you want, you keep on like testing stuff. So I hope it was interesting for you guys to know that. Okay. Um, so see, it's obviously very inspiring to see what Sarah did, and probably everyone is essentially doing. But the question comes that, hey, where do I start? Like, what's my checklist? Ki, I will bring my product to the users, but what do I test? What do I check for? Right? For example, if I know that if I put a thermometer in someone's mouth, I when I take it back, I need to check the result, that is it above 96? Is it 9900? So this is your thermometer. It's basically your checklist that after I've tested my product, how do I know it's working or not? How do I find the gaps? So I think first is that it should pass the 40% rule. What does it even mean? That, for example, if you are giving your product to 100 people, at least 40 of them should be happy with it, right? Or like should say that, oh, this is like great. I mean, I'm going to keep using it. I'm hooked. Then you at least you have a winner of a product, in the sense that, okay, now at least my functionality basically is tested, and now I can just like keep on building on this. So your building brick essentially passes the test, right? So because what will happen is that if someone says that, hey, it's a great product, the word's going to spread, right? Everyone's going to say, oh yeah, that's actually great, and you know that majority of your audience is accepting it. um, the second thing is that your timing should be right, right? You can't just say that, hey, I'll just launch whenever I'm ready. No, you have to launch when the market's ready, right? So it is very, very important to ensure that the market is ready to embrace your project. So, for example, Bill Gates learned it very hard way. Imagine like a person like Bill Gates, he had failed in like making sure the timing is right. You know, Bill Gates was actually the first one who unveiled the first touchscreen tablet, actually, before Apple did. But people weren't ready for it, right? People were like, what is this product? We are not like, what is this? It doesn't make sense. I think years later, when people became more accustomed to like technology and wanted to explore more technologically friendly products, is when actually Steve Jobs was successful in presenting an iPad, right? So this actually gives us a very good insight into how timing matters, right? How ready is your market in terms of accepting that product? Because I think, for example, if you take the last few years, COVID has had a very major impact on how businesses function. Imagine like a company launching a new technological product when COVID has hit, right? It just doesn't make sense, right? Because the world is crumbling outside you, and you're spending like thousands of rupees in marketing, like a problem basically, which is like convenience, where people are actually struggling to live. So it doesn't make sense. to do that. That's the reason why all the pharma, all the health tech companies, medicine companies, they boomed because the market was the perfect fit for them, right? Um, the next part is that you need to make sure that people spread the word, right? If people are talking about the product, that then it will basically grow because essentially think about your experience, right? Think about why did you ever download an app? Just think about that there's no advertisement, right? We do it because of the herd mentality, which is like which we essentially call FOMO. That hey, what am I missing out? Like I need to have this app because everyone has it. Something that was very very evident with I think I'm not sure if you guys were familiar with that was BlackBerry, which was BBM chats, right? So the reason people actually bought a BlackBerry was they felt left out in terms of what people were doing with BBM, right? Android folks couldn't do it, iOS folks couldn't do it, and people just want to know what is the hype about. And the day that chat was launched on Android or iOS, BlackBerry lost its business because now everyone had it, right? So the hype was over. I think the last point, what is very, very important is metric. So, this is something that's going to help you in every phase of your professional life, no matter where you are, is to be able to quantitatively assess your deliverables, your actions, your results, right? Because there are a lot of things that we think are, okay, that's not measurable. That how do I measure that, oh, people want this? It's delight, right? But surprising thing is there's a solid way of measuring it, which is data. So before actually you launch a product, you should at least have a vision in mind of what do you want to achieve, right? For example, I want to monitor how many new users come to my app. I want to monitor how many people actually add a product to the cart but just end up like not purchasing, right? I just want to make sure of that. I'll figure out the checkout piece later, right? It can be anything. It can be sales, number of customers, people coming to your website, clicking a button, anything. But it is important for you to attach a metric to everything that you are developing because that will essentially help you to know what's the impact. So obviously there is qualitative impact, which is like, feedback from customers, but this is quantitative impact, which is equally important. Okay, I think the boring part comes now, where we all think and figure out. So, I'll just give you like say few examples of some like companies that essentially, we all know what they offer, what do they do. So I want you guys to think as to if you were the CEO of that company or like a product manager at that company, what would be the two, three metrics which you think that, oh, I would want to know this about what is the amount percentage customers doing X, right? So what is that one, two, three, any data point that you would want to look at if you are the CEO of the company? Provided obviously you don't know anything, it doesn't have to be complicated, provided you are newly appointed and you just want to know one data point which you are really interested in. So, yeah, so I think everyone's understood the question. Yeah, should I start with the companies? You guys have to think. You have to tell me what product metric would you want to know about. So I think the first company is Spotify. So imagine if you're like the CEO of Spotify tomorrow, what is that one metric that you would love to look at? It can also be insignificant. It's just that you should be interested in knowing ki, okay, how are they doing this or why is it important? So what is that one metric that you would want to look at? Daily ad revenue. Oh, nice. Yeah, important. Money and business. Which genre is most preferred in different age groups? Yeah, pretty interesting. That will help you build the product. Nice, nice. What else? What else? Average time spent on the app by users. Yeah, very good. Very nice. Yeah, that's very important. Average time spent is very important. What else? What else would you want to look at? Think, because you'll have to think it someday. What else? I think I would like to look at their suggestions. Engine. Parts of the world where the apps are mostly used. Okay, nice, nice. Yeah, I would love to look at their recommendation engine and how accurate it is. For example, it shows me a similar playlist and stuff. So I would essentially want to know that how are they doing it? What's the accuracy? Music versus podcast listen. Okay, nice. Yeah, it'll help you onboard more programs. Yeah, nice, 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 nice. What else? Suggestions offered. Subscriptions, active users, suggestions offered. Yeah, yeah, true, true. Has anyone ever wondered like why Spotify shoves like ads down our throat till the time someone takes a premium account, though it's a really bad experience, but still doesn't stop doing it? Like, has anyone ever thought about it? I mean, I don't have Spotify. I had premium, but now I don't have it, so I know both the experiences. But the experience without premium is quite irritating. Like the ads just pop up, they don't, you can't skip it. You just have to listen. They force the user. Yeah, they force the user to buy their service. You're right. Yeah. Yeah, but why get forced, right? I mean, the question is why get forced? Like I can just choose not to use the app, right? That's why I started using JioSavan. Okay, nice. That's okay. Yes, that's deleted it. Okay. Got it, got it. So see, that's the okay. So that's a concept which is called a churn, right? When someone comes to your app but leaves it because he didn't like it or anything, it's called a churn. So basically, users churn for every app. That ratio is different. That how many users actually end up leaving it and not using it. Some apps might have higher. That is can also be by design, by the way. They believe they have customers who have become used to the app. Yes, that's why okay, revenue from the ads. Yes. So actually it's a win-win for Spotify in both the scenarios. So if you don't take a premium, they get revenue from the ads. If you take a premium, they get revenue from the subscription that you have. The idea is that they want to get the users hooked onto the platform, and then basically you won't mind like paying like a small fee, right, for a premium experience that hey, I can download it and this stupid annoying ads will stop coming. So one is that because not everyone ends up deleting it, right? For example, for me it was Spotify is such a good experience that I am willing to pay the money, right, and be on the app. So that's something that is they believe they have content for which the user will bear the pain of ads and might buy premium. Yeah, that's correct. It's the same philosophy as Netflix, right? The content is so exclusive that you would want to essentially buy the premium, even if it costs you money. So yeah, yeah. Has anyone ever wondered why Netflix doesn't have ads? How does Netflix make money? Why does Netflix not have ads? Any answers, guesses? Why do they not have ads? Spotify has ads. YouTube has ads. Why does Netflix doesn't have ads? Because it's not a free app. Okay. Because we buy its subscription. Okay.
And because we can't use it without subscription.
Yeah, that's because you have a source of revenue, sure. But why not have ads? Like what's the big deal? Why not open up? Because you have a great audience, right? Netflix has like humongous audience. Um, Also, I don't want to delete Spotify because then the playlist created will be lost. Yeah, good point. So yeah, that's correct. That's the reason Netflix essentially doesn't have ads because obviously they already have a revenue model which is subscription per se. Um, and they don't even allow any user to use it like free of cost, right? You can't use it free of cost. That's one. The other piece that why Netflix actually doesn't support ads is because the reason is that they have a user experience designed in a way where they want it to be a truly seamless experience, right? Even though we have so many substitutes right now with good content like Hotstar, HBO, Prime Video, um, the stickiness of Netflix still remains the same, right? So they really don't want to compromise on the experience because A, Netflix has exclusive content which others don't. The other USP of Netflix is that Netflix engine is designed in a way that it optimizes as per your needs, right? So, for example, like I have a 2G and you have a 4G. So Prime Video will not optimize for that. It will show you whatever is available, whatever is it. But Netflix will optimize, making sure that as per your internet, I adjust my screen quality. So I think that's something which is very, very great. So Netflix is actually far ahead in terms of the product it has offered, and it understands that I have a niche in the market. It understands that I have a competitive advantage, and that's why people would be more than willing to pay for my products, right? So that's why it doesn't need that as. Prime Video also has, maybe they don't want to lose users, there's many OTT platform available. Yeah, probably. But Netflix already has like killed it in the market to have a share which they will not lose because of the factors that I mentioned. Cool. Nice, guys. Nice. Okay. I think this is one of the main things that we need to very carefully understand is that you can't be afraid to move away from your original idea, right? What does it mean? It means that if I thought of some idea, I can't be married to that just to like see it even after it fails, or if I see that, hey, okay, something else is a better opportunity. This doesn't work, right? So I think one thing that has to be done is that you cannot be emotional about your decision and be married to the idea that you actually thought of earlier, and which you see that okay, there's a better opportunity. I can amend this idea and evolve. So I think evolution is something which is like supremely, supremely important. It's important for you to, identify that your original idea needs to evolve and you need to quickly adapt to the market. So that's something that's a very, very important role. I think the pictures here signify how our simplest thing like a headphone has emerged like over the years, right? Functionality still remains the same. It helps you basically listen to something on some other device, right? But it has evolved. And why has it evolved is because of the need, right? It's because of the need, by how people perceive what's the market like. So it's very important to leave the original idea behind and grab on the better opportunity if it is present. So I think before I move ahead, I think I have two very interesting like case studies of like Google and Netflix that we'll discuss. If there are any questions? But before that, is there any questions that you guys want to ask? Something you guys didn't understand or anything like any what, why, how questions? No, no questions. Everyone understood everything, ready to build the next Netflix. Huh? No questions. Okay. Okay, cool. I think we should move on. Okay, I just want you guys to take like a minute and read this. I think this is very interesting. We'll talk about it. Obviously, we'll discuss. That's the reason I gave you the Netflix example, because I was planning to discuss the same with you guys. Um, so Netflix, this is basically about how Netflix has remained flexible when the time mattered, and how it evolved so that it could keep on being the player in the market that it is. So that's why I was focusing very hardly on that you need to evolve, right? If a product like Netflix feels the need to evolve, then I think that's a gospel truth that we all should definitely, um, you know, take in as a learning. So I'll read it out for you guys. The internet media company first gained traction in the early 2000s. Movie watchers were starting to get tired of paying late fees from brick and mortar DVD rental stores. So, I'll just take a pause. So, brick and mortar essentially are the services which are offline. A brick and mortar store is essentially something that you go to for all your needs offline. So, all the Walmarts and 24/7. These are all known as the brick and mortar stores. So before, like say, an Amazon Grocers or a Walmart was online, everything was brick and mortar, right? So people used to go and take DVDs on rent to watch it. If you remember, there was a time of like DVD players where people used to buy CDs, rent DVDs to actually see movies. I have at least seen that era. When I was a kid, I used to go to the market to buy like DVDs to watch movies at home. There was no Netflix, there was no Prime Video. So yeah, so I think Netflix has decided to step up and solve this problem, right? So what did they do? So Netflix essentially sent them DVDs by mail as part of a subscription service, letting people keep a disc as long as they wanted. So how we pay a subscription for Netflix now, people actually paid a subscription service to get a DVD by email, by mail, right? Mail is like actual delivered physical mail, and they could keep it as long as they want, right? Just like what we do right now, right? If we pay a subscription, we can actually watch a movie as many times as I want, whenever I want. So that's how Netflix came to the idea. But if Netflix had remained a DVD by mail operation, it would have faded out when DVD players did, right? So if Netflix would have gotten married to the original idea that it had, कि, oh, I'm going to send DVDs by mail, then it would have not succeeded the way it has succeeded now, because that model essentially is outdated, right? No one these days actually has a DVD player also. So instead, what did Netflix do was position itself as a easier, cheaper alternative to what currently dominates the entertainment market: brick and mortar rentals. DVDs are traditional television, and Netflix alters its product every time the market need changes, right? So, however it changes, Netflix changes. A Netflix in the US is very different from a Netflix in India. People don't get the same content published. So it's basically customized itself as per geography also. So, Netflix success is actually a great reminder to stay flexible in changing markets, right? It has to evolve, it has to be customized. You cannot build a product of one size fits all. No, you have to be very, very, very flexible and keep an eye on the future. So, yeah, that was, I think, something on Netflix. I hope you guys thought this was interesting. Any thoughts, ideas, questions on this? Like anything you found interesting, or you guys have something more to add to it? You've heard about Netflix that they do, and it's pretty cool. Anything? It's a similar example in terms of geography can be McDonald's. Yeah, that's true. Did you know that in McDonald's, in I think in some countries, I think it's the US, there are no vegetarian options. For them, vegetarian means chicken, and non-veg means like obviously red meat or you know other stuff, which is banned in India. How does Prime stay relevant in the market? Good idea. Good question. Amazon also started with delivering books. Yes, it did. It did. It did start with delivering books. Yes. How does Prime stay relevant in the market? Well, a Prime is um, something which stays relevant to the market by differentiating itself in terms of content. Again, the race is actually of content, and Prime does not sell itself on experience. It only sells itself on the kind of local content that it has, right? Second, yes, someone just mentioned Prime is definitely cheaper, so it gives you the experience that a Netflix could. And also, I mean, again, the content. The third thing that I think you might miss out on is that the number of people who are on Amazon, right? It has a very direct correlation to people taking Prime, because example, you're using only Netflix, right? And tomorrow Netflix launches another new service called Netflix 2.0, right? You are very highly likely to take that 2.0 because you trust the company, you trust the product, you know they are good, and you are more likely to convert than an outsider who's saying Netflix 2.0. So Prime also has a big, big advantage in terms of having access to people who use Amazon itself, right? Okay, some people have given, I think one of the reasons is regional content. Yeah, that's true. That's also true. They have regional content. A combined experience of getting Amazon benefits. Yeah, exactly what I mentioned. Prime also gives additional benefits. Yes, exactly. Yes, it does. So that's they are leveraging basically um the Amazon base, right? That Prime, okay, or not only delivery, but like, hey, watch this, watch that. So what they're doing essentially is that integrating very, very closely with Amazon. Because I think it would be very stupid if you don't leverage the big brand of Amazon or the access that Amazon is giving, right? It's great that they have actually leveraged it because Netflix doesn't have that. It's only solely a video viewing platform. It doesn't have that access to that kind of base who's like shopping on Amazon. So I think, yeah, that's one of the primary reasons. Okay. I have another interesting case study. I'll give you guys a minute to like study this. It's about Google. Obviously not about the entire business, but I think very few of you know that Google has a lot of like other companies as well. So this is about one of the companies that Google actually developed called AdSense. They also have a company known as Alphabet, apart from obviously YouTube and other stuff. So, yeah. Okay, so let's read this together probably. That in the early days, Google competed with lots of other search engines for market share. Like the other players in its market, they made money by offering ad spots next to search results. But in 2003, they jumped ahead of the competition when they introduced a new concept called AdSense. So Google leaders realized that businesses would pay to display their ads beyond the search page. So they developed AdSense to meet that demand. AdSense used new technology to scan web pages and automatically display relevant ads. For example, if you had a business that sold suitcases, you could pay for AdSense to automatically display your ads on travel website. So by 2017, AdSense 11 million users were paying $95 billion a year to Google. So Google identified a need no other search engine was meeting and then met it, right? So another like great example of building something unique what others aren't doing to get a competitive advantage. Uh, Hello, is my voice clear now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. Yeah, so I think this is something very interesting. Um, I'll tell you what happens currently in all the businesses that are relying on advertisements. They base themselves very heavily on Google advertising as well as Facebook advertising because it's very customized, right? You can literally define the kind of person you want to target as a company if I want, right? For example, I think everyone's aware of this phenomena. If twice I search for like, black shoes, that's all I see on my Instagram or Facebook, right? That black shoes from here, there, everywhere, right? If I click on two pages related to, like warm jackets, that's all I see for the next 2, 3 days over my Instagram or search for jewelry. Jewelry suggestions are only thing that I see, right? So that's something that AdSense does, right? It consumes your information and then basically shows you advertisements which are specific to and your needs. For example, showing like a suitcase ad on like a travel website when you're there and at the bottom as you see, right? So essentially, Google is not restricting you to just display your ad when people are searching, but when people are actually visiting the websites through Chrome or opening it via like searching on Google, um, it's you can see a customized advertisement. So the right person, the right time, they advertise, and that's exactly why people are paying them, and that's why even it's in its first year, it got so much of revenue. So I think that's something that's also very interesting that even a bigger player like Google is thinking about product market fit, right? That I mean, I want to earn money from advertisement, but how do I do it? How do I fit it into the market currently? Let me do something that no one else is doing. So like I said, product market fit is only not only for customers or at a point of time where you're building something new, but also when you're trying to find a place for a great product or basically just iterating. So even a new change or a new change or basically just another um, essence of like a product, that also needs a product market fit. So if I've given version 1, version 2 also needs a product market fit, because I can't launch a product that doesn't fit in the market, right? Okay, I think we've exceeded the time, which was allotted to me. I think that's great. I think we should just do like a Q&A now. Okay, I have first question. Why does Google track us extensively? Is it just to understand consumer behavior and provide relevant content accordingly, or there are more levels to it? Actually, it's the opposite. If Google doesn't track you for to provide you relevant content, just I think a famous person or said that if a product is free, then you are the product, right? So that's the case with Google, Facebook, and Instagram. It's free, and the reason is that because you are the product, right? And the reason it Google tracks us in terms of our search histories, what are we searching for, where are we exactly located, is to provide a platform for the advertisements or the brands to reach out, right? So they earn, you don't get any benefit apart from, like, obviously, I see you can get a benefit, obviously, that it can show you brands which you might not search on your own. The suggestions, yes, for sure, but actually the person who gains from it is the person who's advertising. So yeah, and Google, obviously, because you are the product that they're selling. So it's your data that they're selling. I think in the current scenario of things, you should know that data is actually the new gold mine. That's something that's extensive, and data is more precious than gold. Have you guys read this book called Mindfucked? It's about Cambridge Analytica and the whole business. Do you guys know about the Cambridge Analytica piece with Facebook? I think you should like probably read the book and watch some interviews on that. It's very interesting. I think it will answer your data questions and how extensively data is being used. Mindfucked. It's called Mindfucked. So it's about Cambridge and Facebook. So you can search on what this news was essentially about. There are a lot of interviews of Mark Zuckerberg also being interviewed by a lot of like ministers, and I think there's a movie on Netflix also. I'm not sure. You can just search. I am reading the book currently, so that's why I know. Any other questions? Yeah, you should read it. It's a great book.
Everyone can type their questions in the chat box, or you can unmute yourself.
There's a documentary movie, Social Dilemma, on that as well. Yes, you're right. I forgot about that. Yeah, it's about that as well. Yes. Because I get sure Rabbi also feels the same. Yes and no. I think we are a part of an ecosystem, unfortunately or fortunately, where everything is essentially being tracked. The idea obviously is very enticing to say that, hey, I'll be offline and I'll try to, for people to not read my data. But in this world, it's actually not possible. I think everyone needs to come to terms with the fact that, yeah, we are being tracked. It is not obviously healthy. There's a fine line between customized things as for data and like being intrusive. But I think that's something, that's a debate that's being fought on a lot of different levels. We hear about companies, their data being sold in the dark web and all of that. So I think that's something that's a harsh reality, and it's definitely to be something scared of. But I think there's nothing we can essentially do about it except like ensure that all our guards are up. Um, for example, I recently discovered this. I was listening to a podcast. Maybe you guys can also, on Bitcoin, where I just wanted to make myself aware. If you do you guys know about Beer Biceps? This page, like this guy who runs his own podcast on Spotify, and he has, he's interviewed a lot of, yeah. So you should listen to his podcast on Spotify. It's pretty cool on Bitcoin. So they tell you essentially a couple of browsers that actually blocks people from like tracking your data and having advert. I'm forgetting the name, but there you get paid if someone wants to advertise something to you. That too in Bitcoin. That's the catch. Yeah, his name is Ranbir, right? So yeah, so you when you use a browser, you can choose if you want to be used as a product so that people can advertise, and if they do advertise, you get paid. So I think that's pretty cool. I think it's the US. I'm not sure if it's in India or not. But that's a browser that doesn't track you apparently. So that's something I knew I learned about. So I thought I'll share. You guys should listen to that podcast. Maybe that's interesting about Bitcoin. Great. Any other questions? Interesting questions, guys. Very nice. I think there are no other questions. Should we wrap it up then if no one has any questions?
With this, we come to an end of this extremely insightful webinar. I'm sure that each one of us learning and got to be learning and imbibe a lot about achieving product solution and its product market fit today. On behalf of Mark Heaven, the Marketing Society of Shaheed Rajguru College of Applied Sciences for Women, and Institution's Innovation Council, I would like to express extreme gratitude to Ms Priya Virmani for gracing us with their extreme presence for this session. Your valuable and experienced insights on a very interesting and useful topic are sure to have motivated students to explore the multitude of opportunities available in the management of global business. We would now like to present ma'am with the letter of gratitude. Thank you, ma'am, for taking out time from your busy schedule. I personally feel that this session has been extremely enlightening and has added such a fresh perspective to our approach. We are truly indebted of your valuable advice and tips. I would like to extend a hearty thankfulness to all the attendees for being such a patient audience.
Thank you so much, Nisha. It was a pleasure talking to you guys. I think it was very deep. Uh, Thank you for listening to me blabber for an hour. It's great. I hope like I was able to help you guys a bit. And you can always connect with me on LinkedIn or reach out to me via email. I think I have already shared my details with your team. Happy to help any one of you if you have some questions, you just want to chat about what do you want to do, just like happy to connect. So yeah, so keep in touch. If you want any kind of guidance, please let me know, reach out to me, and yeah, we can have a chat anytime.
I would also like to thank our teachers, Ms. Tanusha Jain, Mrs. Rableen Kaur, and Dr. Dimpi Handa for their constant support and guidance, because of which this webinar was a huge success. We, we would also like to extend our heartfelt gratitude to our principal, Dr. Payal Mago. I would request all of you to switch on your cameras for a group photograph. Please switch on your cameras, everyone. I think we are done. Now everyone can leave the meeting. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am.